Welcome to the Private Practice Pro podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping therapists cultivate success. Here's your host, Kelley Stevens.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Private Practice Pro podcast. I am so excited. This is a return episode.
Yee.
So Stassi's back here with us, and we are talking all about your Instagram following, online courses, your kind of venturing into services in addition to your one-to-one therapy. So you have a one-to-one therapy practice, which anyone who listened to episode 1 of this series, which you should go back and listen to episode 1 if you haven't already, would have heard all about your practice. And now today, this is our like mini update episode of just where you're at, how it's going, and all of that. So before we get into all of that, I just want to know, how are you? What's going on in your life right now?
So this will be played later in life, but where we're at right now is it's December 14th. I'm from Portland. I live in Portland, Oregon. I'm in New Jersey at my in-laws' house in a little condo in a shared space that never is private. So I am tired.
I didn't know you were in New Jersey. This is great.
Yeah.
So that means you took a plane flight with a toddler.
Yeah.
Right?
An 11-month-old.
A baby.
Yeah, baby, 11-month-old. 4.5 hours. It's going to be 6.5 hours on the way home.
How was that?
It was so much better than I thought it would be. There was so much anxiety leading up to it, and all the prep and all the toys I could bear and all the snacks, and
Right.
He was so wonderful. He slept only 45 minutes. He normally sleeps 2 hours and 4 hours throughout the entire day. And he slept maybe an hour and 15 the entire day. And he was so great. He's just an easygoing guy. He like transferred laps and like played and ate some snacks. And he was just like, fine. Easy.
It was a freaking miracle. My son is 2.5, and I still haven't braved the plane.
Yeah, I wish
I've just left you home with grandma and grandpa. Like, I've just avoided it.
Yeah.
I just make everyone come to me now.
I mean, it was so nice because it was COVID. I mean, it wasn't nice because it was COVID times. I'm sorry you had to learn to be a parent during that time. And it's an easy thing to say we're not going on a plane. It's
oh yeah, 100%. Like we would have had to be we're gonna do his first plane ride. We're going to Hawaii sometime this spring. And like but yeah, having a baby in the deep COVID pandemic meant that I never had to fly with a baby. Yeah. But now I'm sure, that's literally the reason. Okay, so last time we talked, we were venturing into the world of like posting reels on Instagram and starting to build your Instagram following and starting to kind of like niche down to who you were speaking to.
Yeah.
So we've texted a little bit. I've been watching your reels. We were off camera just talking about how like I need your reels in my life and in my relationship. But so how are you feeling about it?
Good. So I wish we could go back and listen to what the exact things were happening at that time because it's all kind of a blur. But I know during that episode, I had an Instagram account that was functioning a year ago, and then maternity leave happened, and I've been like dipping my toes in, but like the actual energy to like focus on it was, 1, obviously too hard, and 2, I didn't know what I was wanting to say. Like I know what I want to say to individual clients. It's much hard to speak to a audience that's pretty blind and quiet. And it felt like a lot of just like my friends and family or professional entrepreneurs. Like it didn't feel like my target people. It was like people who like me. So I think I was probably at like 370 followers is going to be my guess.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Where I
watch people listening to this episode will be like, we just listened to the last one and it was 371.
Yeah.
Or something, we're like, well,
they're like, oh, sorry, I don't know. Yeah,
around there, around 370 something.
Yeah,
and this was like, we're talking a month ago. We're not talking like a year.
Yeah, it was probably 5 weeks ago. I'm gonna make that up, but that's gonna be the guess. We should have been more prepared. We could have looked all.
We. But literally before this, we're all fucking wrapping presents and like I'm like a Hanukkah Christmas elf over here.
I was
man,
throwing a baby in the. And when they're like, crap.
Yeah, you're on a vacation right now. Okay, so tell me, where are you at now?
I'm at 882.
Damn.
Yeah.
In 5 weeks, you went up by like 500 people.
Yeah. Like it's been like 100.
That's a lot of people.
A lot. Like a lot. And there, I think it's a little bit of luck. And I will share my wisdom with
Fuck that
you.
noise. I think it's a little, of course you said it's a little, what the, no, it's not, that's not how the internet works, dude, but okay.
I mean, okay. All right. I'll tell you what I think happened.
Okay, tell us what you think happened.
I'm getting more like it. Once I hit 500, I was like, these are people who like, it felt like not my friends and family. It felt like legitimate followers who were interested in the thing I was saying. And there was a lot more confidence in getting on the camera. Instead of like my sister's watching this, it was like, there are people who care about the things I'm saying now. So for whatever reason, 500 followers. Say that again?
There's people who need help.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was like, I've been thinking about this for the last few days, being like, what am I going to tell Kelley? So what happened with the followers? Yeah, and where do I want to go from here? So what happened with the followers is, one, like there's always advice on the internet that's like, hey, tag people and start collaborating. Like start just collaborating and eventually they'll share and do stuff. And so what ended up happening, it wasn't particularly strategic. I love this one woman, which we mentioned in the last podcast, named Carrie Locker, who's a postpartum nurse, and she's rad. And the way she's built her Instagram account, like, is basically how I want to do it. She has content throughout the week, and then she does a question box over the weekend, and she answers questions. And she's on her stories all the time. She mostly nurtures everyone in her stories, and she has reels coming in.
Right.
So I think for more, it's like, there's another brand, Chris Loves Julia. They're home renovation people who
I love them. Yeah.
They have a brand called Good Influencer that is about creating an audience. And what they said in a post was like, your feed is for new people and your stories is to nurture your followers. And so that's like the frame I've been using. So anyways, I've been watching people do this, and I've been taking it more as educational instead of and systematic than I have been as a follower before. Before it was just me following content because I liked it, and now I'm trying to observe what they're doing and how they're doing it well.
Isn't that like the hardest part about venturing into influencer world? Is all of a sudden like all the brands that you loved, now you're like looking at their content like what? Like for me, like now people are like, I'm like looking at it like work. I mean, not really, but like I love my job now, but like it's like, oh, they did this and then they said this, so that, you know, it's like it's strategy. First, it's just
not a downtime moment anymore. There's like no downtime.
Yeah, it's work. Yeah,
all the time. Your brain switches. So the switch somewhere happened. And so I tagged Carrie Locker. So Carrie Locker says in her stories a lot of the times, there's two things that can be true at the same time. You can hate pumping and want to give your baby breast milk. And like those two things can be true at the same time. Yeah, 100%. And I was like, oh my God,
I'm in that camp.
Yeah. You can, I don't know, like want to connect with your husband and never want to have sex with him. Like, you know, like those two things can be true at the same time. That's the stuff all the time. And so I created a series that was two things can be true at the same time, because I use that with clients all the time. You can want a connection with your mom and struggle with
not want to go to Christmas
and like be fearful of like calling her, right? Like those two things can be true, right? So I just, every time she says that, it just connects and relates. So I tagged her in a story just saying, I'm going to start the series. Like I talked to my stories, I'm going to start the series. It's inspired by Carrie Locker. She says this stuff. And she shared it and said, go girl, I'm so excited. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
And so she has like 550,000 followers. And I got like tons of followers through that. Like
that's
so
amazing.
Many. And I haven't, like, I truly think, I know it's not luck, but it is.
Okay,
luck.
That is not luck. That is strategy. I'm going to tell you why. Okay. Number one, people get those messages all the time. Yeah. Okay. Like I get tagged in reels every single day that I just untag.
Right.
And like, because when you look at somebody's content and they've tagged you, if it, number one, doesn't relate to you, if the way they messaged it, if it's not kind of on your brand, if it doesn't feel genuine, she could have easily never responded to that. Like, so you're bringing not only something that's genuine, you're also bringing your content. You're like, your background is beautiful on your bio, like the whole thing. Like you had to position yourself to be able to reach out to somebody so that they would share your content. And that's not like luck, you know? Maybe it's lucky in the sense that like, I don't know, she happened to be on her phone that day to see your thing, or it didn't get lost in her DMs or something. But like, that's also strategy. Like people collab on things with people reach out, like it's strategy to get some of the bigger accounts in your niche to post your stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what Lucky did.
Okay.
Just that.
Yeah, I'm into it. Thank you.
That was good strategy.
Okay, so that's one way that happened.
You also had a viral reel like the second one you posted.
Yeah, that happened.
Like we were texted, like literally I felt like and an outsider, what happened was like you came on the show and we were like, okay, you're going to do it. And then you and I were texting off camera a few days later. And then literally like the very first reel you posted had like 10,000 views.
Yeah.
And I think I had been texting you like, keep your expectations low.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry if no one watches it. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, by the way, it's 10,000.
Yeah. And I don't even think I told you because I was like, I told my husband, I was like, I think this is viral. And he's like, no, it's not viral. Like 10,000.
That's viral.
And so like you texted me being like, hey, you went viral. And I was like, see, it's true. I did.
It is. Viral. I think the technical definition is anything 5 times the size of your audience.
Oh, well, then we went really, really, really viral.
Yeah. So it's not like viral, I think people think of as like 1 million views.
Yeah.
No, but like, no, it just means anything 5. I think like the definition is anything 5 times the size of your audience.
Okay. So
like for sure.
So that happened, and that was mom content where I just said, hey, if you had your to-do list on pause, like your family's lucky to have you. Like, yes, this is hard. And so there was some I mean, that was what was happening in my day. And I was like, I just want to get a reel out. So I threw up, like I filmed myself like rocking my baby in a carrier because I hold him all day. And then I had a few clips from like him feeding a bottle from months earlier. And I just like made a little thing. And somehow that like magically related without like much thought. That again, it feels lucky, and it was probably not in terms of like it was very authentic, and like I needed to hear that too, and I like threw it up there being like, mama, here you go, like because in to the mom who has the to-do list on pause, I was like me talking to you a little bit, Kelley, being like, I need to get this shit done. We have goals to do. I'm supposed to get these reels in and lives in, and like I had to put it on pause, so that happened. If everyone listened to the first podcast or episode, the second,
the people have to listen to these ones in a series.
Yeah,
because we're gonna it's gonna be good.
Yeah, and you are missing out on a lot of context that I cannot remember. But I have
we're not
going to give a small podcast, which Kelley came on. I have a partner named Emily, and Emily is really great at asking guests to come on. I have noticed my own socialization around that and embarrassment of like, I'm too small, like my podcast isn't cool enough, like, and like even when we had you on anytime I have a guest on the podcast, I go, thank you, goodbye, and I like try to shove you out the door because like I'm taking up too much of your time instead of like claiming space that
it was so fun. I loved it, like literally I loved it. And the thing is, people want to be on your podcast because it helps their SEO. Like I always think it's like a hidden hack kind of like podcasting is like the fact that because like podcasts allow you to have links and things in the show notes, people like bigger names will come on your podcast just so that they can be improving their SEO, even if you don't have a big audience. Whereas if you ask somebody to go live on Instagram, that doesn't help their SEO. So they're less likely. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So like regardless of the fact that it was like freaking fun and we had a great time, I also think like it's strategy. Yeah,
I had to ask you like before when I was a guest on your podcast, I said, why did you do like why did you even do that? Like I didn't understand why somebody of your caliber would come on a podcast that had like 120 followers and like it was like the 5th episode or something. Like I don't know, I'm making up what that was, but like we were small and very new. We're still new in it. But we've got.
I think you overestimate how much shit my shit together is.
I do. I think I'm like, whoa, she's popular, and like I think it's just like who cares? I don't know.
Like going on podcasts is so fun, and I had listened to some of it, and it's like it's a good time.
Yeah, it is a good time. It is a good time. So we've had a ton of guests since. We've had this is a therapist podcast, so they'll be impressed with this. Other people aren't, but we've had the author of Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents on our podcast.
What?
Yeah.
That's like my favorite book.
I know,
Did you know?
Too. And I was like, Emily just called her. She just called her and was like, do you want to do this? And like, she said yes.
What?
Guys, it's not that hard, apparently. You just ask and you call people. Like, she called her on the phone. Like,
That's the best book. Can we just talk about for 1 second? Like, any therapist who hasn't read Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, like, I think it's a must read. Like, I would put it in school curriculums because, like, it's so good and it's so good to give to clients.
It's amazing. And seriously, I'm gonna do a little plug. Go listen to Emotionally Unfucked with her. Her name is Lindsay. Like,
okay, we'll tag the episode below.
Yeah,
so people can
absolutely
just
should listen to it. Like,
100%.
One of the questions I asked was like, how are we, like, if we have generational trauma and all these people were emotionally immature, like, how are we all not emotionally mature? Like, what are we doing? And like, she like answered all this. She has another book coming out in the summer, and she said she'd love to come back and talk to us. Kelley, do you want to come to our podcast and we'll just have like a foursome?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, let's be like, we'll throw you a launch party. You come and hang out with us.
I was like, we're not going to give you any PR, girl. Like, I don't know why you don't want to come on and promote your new book, but I want to talk to you, so I don't care.
Search engine optimization, dude. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, people want to do it. Okay, so in terms of so you've grown your audience in like 5 weeks by like 500 people, which is nice. And you have been posting reels. Have you been posting any I mean, some of these answers I know, but I'm just asking you because podcasts or something. What about, and then you've been on your stories. And then what about the like stagnant image posts?
I did a couple. So I've done like, when I got like a ton. So we had Laura Danger, who's at That Darn Chat, and has a ton of followers too, as a guest. Why did I bring her up? What was the question? Oh, I got so many new followers from that. I did like a stagnant post with like a picture of me being like, this is who I am. What's up? Hello. And then yesterday I did like a tweet one inspired by your tweet one, and I was going to make it stagnant. And then I made it into a reel with like a moving background because that's like the thing now is like to make things moving and stagnant at the same time.
The whole like stagnant versus, this is something I'm like wondering about too. More like, I don't think there's a right answer to this of like, how do you balance stagnant Instagram posts versus reels versus story? There's so many different types of content available now, and it's how to know which one is what you should be doing.
I have personally found the word. So like I have 2 other moving word ones, which is like how to prep for Thanksgiving without stress, how to bring winter break in or whatever without, to like make sure you schedule some time for yourself. And like those could just been carousels, right? Like just boom words. And I made them into like little videos instead. And I don't think they're performing any better if they would have just been stagnant. I need to like sit with myself and figure out like, as a user, what do I prefer to read? And like, I think I prefer carousels. Like, I think I prefer to sit instead of trying to like hold the button down to figure out like what the words are. And like, that's really stressful. But I don't know even why I brought those up either. I think it,
no, that's another type of content. I mean, like carousel posts, the ones you swipe through versus like a reel that's moving. And, I think like there's this other factor, the fact that Instagram changes all the time. So Instagram prioritizes different types of content. So for a long time, it was like reels, make reels. And then only recently, Instagram, like people basically protested or like Instagram used to be a photo sharing app. What happened? So Instagram has started to re-promote some of the more stagnant posts.
Yeah.
And so like, I know for me in my feed, I've noticed that like for a little while, I had a huge dip in stagnant posts. Like when I first started my account, everything was like stagnant, you know, like was photo based essentially, or like image based. And then everything became reels. And then recently I've noticed more of an uptick again in stagnant posts, like in the reach that they get. Meaning like how many people are each other. But I think it changes all the time. So like we could say this and then, a week from now, Instagram could be like, actually, I mean, that's like the detriment of being on any social media platform. You're kind of subject to like what they're putting out too.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And like I hear they're starting to buy into like Be Real and like that's going to be a thing that they're going to start promoting, right? Like that every time something becomes popular, one platform does it. I saw, social media trends just being like, you should be on all of them, not posting particularly on them, but you need to be familiar with them because eventually whatever platform you value the most will bring some sort of flavor of the other one. So you don't want to be lost when they bring in a new feature. You want to be new when they bring in a new feature, which is just so much work.
Okay, let's talk about that. Just bomb you a month there.
Yeah.
I could tell you where I'm at with that concept versus, so, and I think that's interesting too. Like we have two different types of accounts, like I'm like 2 years in, a year and a half in, you're a year in, but like you're kind of restarting in the last couple of months. So what I have started to do is exactly what you're saying. So like, I think it's hard when you first start your Instagram account because it's like you're learning this whole platform. And then like, you don't even really have a sense of like, is this going to turn into a business? Is this going to create any sort of alternative income streams? And so you just like invest in that one platform.
Yeah.
And then like, you don't really think about any other platforms. And I actually think that's a good thing. Like I think like it's hard to learn how to grow on multiple platforms at one time.
Yeah.
But I know like for me, the huge downfall of that is like now I've built a successful business, which is awesome. And like still to this day, literally blows my mind. Like I'm still like, what happened? But I'm highly dependent on Instagram. So like, about 90% of my sales come from Instagram because now I can track where they come from. And so, God forbid you ever get hacked. God forbid Instagram, like look at what's happening with Twitter right now. There's like a mass exodus from Twitter. I had just started a Twitter when Elon Musk bought Twitter. I was like, oh my God, why did I'm giving up. Like, it's not worth it. So at the point where I'm at in my business is I'm like, okay, I have to start to grow on other platforms. And not like I feel like Instagram, at least for the next few years, will always be my home. And Instagram is a really successful platform, obviously. But I think at the point for me where I've started to grow my business, I'm like, okay, I wouldn't ever be dependent on one referral source in my therapy practice.
Right.
Like, because then, what happens? So anyway, how does this connect to where you are right now? I have like a couple ideas for you.
Yeah, I mean, so like TikTok, what was a goal for me was just to recycle things and just put it on there. Just be like, it's just up in the interwebs of TikTok. Yeah. And I forget every time. Like I think at the beginning I had put up 2 and I don't think I've done it since. And every week I meet with like, I have one
video person.
Yeah, I have a person, which I think we should go back to because there's something that I really care about that. But like, I have a person I meet with weekly about content, and every week she goes, "Remember TikTok?" And you're like, "Yeah, okay, cool, yeah, totally." And then I like totally space it. I also like all those Zoom videos we have from our podcast. I actually just want to throw up on YouTube and just like have it existing.
Yes.
Like, I don't care. I don't need to promote it. Like just have it somewhere, living in a space, and maybe somebody will find it. Like I don't need to be, at this point, strategic all the way with everything. I think I just like things can live and exist and maybe something will happen while I'm also being very strategic with one platform is kind of where I'm sitting. I haven't done
it's kind of like how Facebook is. Like, do you automatically post your Instagram content to Facebook?
Yeah, which is like, but it does live on the internet and nothing does come of that. That's been happening for 2 years. And Instagram or Facebook is nothing. Like, I don't know. I get DMs and then don't see them, which is also bad news.
Do you use Facebook Business Suite to respond to things, or do you always respond on your Instagram?
I always respond on Instagram.
Because that helps. That really helps. Like, number one, you can type replies. And number so like you can go way faster. Yeah. And number 2, you can reply to Facebook. Because I kind of did the same thing with Facebook. Like I kind of ignored it for a long time. And then one day I logged in and I was like, oh my God, what just, like, oh no, what happened? You have a couple like Instagram or Facebook reels go viral. And then you're like, oh no, all of a sudden I have to make it. Yeah. Okay, but here's my hack. So what I've been doing, because I agree with you with TikTok. So first of all, like, in my opinion, I don't want to stress anyone out that's listening to this, but I'm really avoided TikTok because I was like, I'm a millennial. Like, I'm not like freaking Gen Z.
Yeah.
Like, I did everything that could in my like being to avoid TikTok for like the whole first year, basically.
Yeah.
But the reality is, like, you're already filming a ton of content.
Yep.
You know, like you're already filming TikToks or whatever you want to call them. My stepmom told me today, she's like, the young people call it the clock. And I was like, okay, thank you. TikTok, the clock. Anyway, I'm probably aging myself. There's probably people listening to this podcast who are like, yeah.
Do they not? I like
yes, the clock, TikTok.
Okay,
anyway,
cool, guys.
We're cool. We're cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm sure get it. I'm into it.
So number one, I use a program called Social Bee, which we can put in the show. Okay, so basically, I film a reel on Instagram. Okay, and before you post it, you can download it out of Instagram without the watermark on it. Do you know that? So like when you're in Instagram, okay, and you have totally done with the reel, there's a button that's like save.
Okay.
And you can save it and it will save it without the watermark. Once you post it, the watermark, if you try to save it out of your phone, the watermark will show up. But if you right before you post it, you download it.
Okay. Yep.
All right. Then I either option one is just to go post that on TikTok.
Yeah.
Which you don't want to do it the same day. You know, like you don't want to, because then like anyone's, you know, you wait a couple days. But save it in your draft.
Listeners, if you also are an amateur like me and you have no following on TikTok, post it on the same fucking day and nobody will know.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Just get your shit out. Get it off your to-do list.
That's true. It's true.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, there are no reasons on TikTok. I have 0 followers on TikTok. It'll be fine if I post it.
Careful what you wish for, dude. Like you, like 5 weeks later, you're 500 more people in, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. But there's also a program called Social Bee, which basically is an archive. And you upload it to Social Bee, which sounds really hard, but it's like really not. It's literally like you upload the reel to this program and it holds all of them. And then it will auto post them to TikTok, to Instagram, it'll do Twitter. It'll just like post it across all the different platforms.
Wow.
So like you could, once you get to the point where you're like, if you have a reel that you're like, I 6 months from now, I'm going to want to post this again. It's like really, it's actually fairly easy to like start to like recycle some of those posts or at least save them, you know?
I mean,
and
that's the thing is when I do download it, it's all in my photos app and like it's mixed in with my baby photos, like and you know, like and my stories that I want to save, you know, like there's like it's a fucking mess. And I know I don't like, God, the amount of time this takes and the organization you need behind it. Like I'm never going to find those reels again unless I go back into Instagram and find it. Like I don't have a space. So I honestly think Social Bee that's a beautiful way to have it all sitting somewhere because I keep being like, you need to like make a folder and have it somewhere. Like, because it is a hot mess. It's already a hot mess. And it's been 5 weeks.
So even if you do nothing else, even if you don't use Social Bee, there's all sorts of programs that do this. Okay. I'm not like an affiliate I get $0 from Social Bee. That's just the one I use. But there's
but you should give us money.
Yeah. Give us money. Like probably, you know, like if people think like, oh, affiliate links get so much money. It's like, we get like 3 cents. Anyway, Amazon, I think I made like the other day, I have like some Amazon links to like, I don't know, therapy chairs and stuff. And my husband was like, how much money you made on Amazon last year? And I was like, you know, I don't know, $80 in the whole year. And he's like, how much did you spend on Amazon last year? And I was like, I don't want to tell you. Okay, let's go back. Social Bee. Oh, okay. So at the very minimum, if you do nothing, if you do no Social Bee, I would at least just make an iCloud album.
Yeah.
And every single time you record a reel, just save it to that album. Even if it won't, if you do a trendy one, it won't save the audio. Even if you don't save the audio, you just save the video. Just like put it in an album in your phone. And if you are like, you know what, I just want to get used to creating content, at least do that. Because like a year from now, when you have, 500 reels, you're going to be like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, for real. I mean, exactly. And I use which you were like, what is that caption? How do you get that font? Like, I want to know. So I started using an app called Splice.
Yes, I started using it after you told me.
It's rad, and they have trending audios. I don't know if it's like, it's not the same. I don't think it goes into the Instagram algorithm, so I don't always use the trending audios from there. But you get to save it, and it's in your video now, right? Like where Instagram, it's mute. Splice is like, it's in your video, and that's really nice. It has, the reason I started using it was because it had captions, and I wanted nicer captions than Instagram.
They look beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, sometimes I still use Instagram captions. It depends on the video I'm doing. But like, I really like Splice. It's really user friendly, and it splits and it does things, and it does like the cool transitions that people do when they like swipe the camera and it looks like it spins. They have like all these like fancy things if you get really into it. But
I know, it makes us look so much more professional than we are.
Hey, therapists. Are you listening to the show and thinking, I really want to launch my own private practice, but I have no idea where to start? Make sure to check out Kelley's Private Practice Roadmap course. In the course, Kelley gives you the exact steps you need to open your own thriving practice. You can find the link below in the show notes.
Okay, so let's go back to talking about your video editor friend. We got to give her what's her name?
Her name is Hannah.
Okay, let's talk about Hannah.
So
who is Hannah?
Hannah, okay. So Hannah is my wedding videographer, which is very funny. And she had her own podcast, and like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, she said, hey, can you come on? Like, I love your Instagram content. Can you come on to my little small podcast? Like, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah. I was not thinking about SEO at the time. I just like talking about myself. So totally, I'll come hang out. So I did a therapist-y thing and talked to these 3 20-year-old, they were in their 20s and like all about mental health. And she was like mind blown by the like socialization and the way women are grown up in society and the way it affects us now. All 3 of them, I think, were married, very young. So then I did my course last year, and I wasn't getting enough people, and I was so stressed that I was going to have like I think I had like 3 signups. I was like, I just need bodies to look popular. Right. I don't care. So I know she likes the stuff. She thought it was cool. Like, girl, come take my course. You'll like it. Please come. Yeah. So she was like, hey, I don't want to do it for free, so I'll do a trade. I do business videos all the time. Like I'll video you doing therapy, and like let's do a thing. So that was kind of the swap. And then I was 8 months pregnant at the time I was doing my course, so that got dropped. And so in the fall, he reached back out and said, hey, I still want to do the video. Like, I want to make sure that you get paid, which is very kind and courteous of her. And during the moment she emailed me, I said, God damn it, that means I have to get back on Instagram. Like she can't. Cool, you film a video of me, and that's not going to do anything, right? Like, I can't do anything with that. I can't just like post that somewhere.
I have an audience.
Yeah. And one of the goals was to take the course that we recorded all the courses and make it passive income by making it into a digital course. So she was going to help do that. And I was like, I can't just like promote that. Like, I've been dead for 9 months off this. Like, I have to, damn it, now I have to do work. Which is then all magically you showed up in my life and was like, I want to help you. And she wanted to help. What is happening? So
like, let's do it.
Yeah. So in my meetings with her, I said, this is amazing. I'm excited. And also, like, I don't have the capacity to figure out how to talk on Instagram. I don't have the capacity. Like, I don't know what to do here. And that's not her job. Her job is a wedding and a business videographer. And she is very passionate about the subject and loved the course content and how much she learned, and she wants it to be sold so that she can buy it for her mom, basically. She's like very passionate about that, which is very cute. But she was like, she just cares about this. And so one of the things, I hope people know who he is. His name is Simon Sinek. Do you know who that is? Oh my gosh, Kelley,
Tell
you
me.
Fucking love him. Okay, so I don't even know how to describe. I don't know what his job is. So he's a researcher. He's super famous. Simon Sinek. He has 2.1 million followers on Instagram. I'm going to share his account with you now.
We'll tag him below.
So inspirational. He is a researcher about human connection, but leadership in corporations, basically. And so what his whole, like, all his books are about, and his whole Instagram account is about like how to inspire people to want to work for you, how to lead so people are excited to be there. And so one of the things he hits all the time is like, you don't need people to do a job. You need people to care about the content and mission. And so anytime I've thought about like I could hire somebody to help me do content, I can't hire somebody off the street to help me do the thing I care about. Like I can't convince somebody that this is important. Like I need someone to know this is important. And so in our conversations, it was like, she's the person. She's the one who knows this is important. And so she kind of quickly whispered that she was interested. I said, would you actually do this? And so we meet once a week. And she like keeps me like my notes from yesterday of like, this is what you're going to talk about this week on your stories. This is a reel you need to post. And like, this is the things that you like, we record our conversations. So she asked me in-depth questions about her own marriage and about her own stuff and goes like, but like, how do I ask him to do the dishes? Like, what do I do? And so we record that. And sometimes I post that as reels. And sometimes I just rewatch it to go, this is like, I'm really good to talking one-on-one. I am not good at talking to the internet and being passionate about it.
You're getting better though. I think that's what you said last episode, but I don't think that's true. I think you're good at talking to the internet.
I think I am good at talking to the internet, except for when it's vague, right? Like, so I do. It's very helpful to have a touch base to be like, oh, these are the questions people have. Okay, I'll go talk about that, and then I feel very confident in it. But like, when you're but we're all, any therapist here is experts, right? So when you're an expert in something, you're sitting in the middle of the water going like, where is the shore? I don't know where other people are standing, right? And so I don't know what's important to pull out and go, this fish is this, right? Like I just know that all the fish are hanging out with me. And so it's helpful.
I like the fish analogy.
I'm just hanging out with the fish.
Just imagining Stassi like in the middle of an ocean.
And like Hannah's sitting on the shore going, but like, what is that fish? And tell me about it. Like, how did you pick up the fish? And I don't understand, right? And like, I'm like, oh, I just grabbed the fish. What are you talking about? I'm really good with analogies.
Dude, okay, so this is a so you meet with her once a week and you guys essentially brainstorm content.
Yep.
Right? Does Hannah do any other things for you?
She does. God, yeah. The thing is, she's worth so much money. It's insane. Like she needs Hannah. If you're listening to this, you are worth so much. She knows this. I say this to her every time.
Yeah, maybe we should you should start a business.
I know. That's what I think. I don't think she's passionate about it, but she kind of is. So she does notes for me. So she types up everything, and then she adds like her own questions again. So she like says like. So in a couple weeks ago, we had like a hobby question, like a one-off things about hobbies. So that women have hobbies between spaces and men get hobbies that are structured at time.
Yes, I listened to your content on this and I was like,
oh, good. Yeah. It like changed my life that I like had like that. Oh, it was a podcast guest who said that. I was like, what the hell? So we did a thing about it. And yesterday she goes, you didn't finish talking about that. That just like kind of, it's the ball's still in the air. We need to come back down and like, and end it. And then what she'll do is she'll like in the notes that she does, which is so kind, and she doesn't have to do this extra work. She says, these are my questions I want answered. Ba-da-doom, ba-da-doom, ba-da-doom. And so then I look at that going, oh, okay. And then I get on my stories and go, okay, this is what we need to talk about. These are the questions that need to be answered. Boom, 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 boom.
Dude, that's amazing. Tell her to.
It's fucking amazing.
I know.
Isn't that insane?
So in terms of action steps for moving forward, where do you feel like what's next for Stassi? What do you want to keep doing some of the same? Like, where do you feel like you want to grow next?
Yeah, I actually want to have questions. Honestly, can we just start with like, besides where I think I should go?
Yeah. What's
the feedback? Because I don't know how you were paying attention very closely to me, which was really great. And you had texted me like, are you going to post a reel when I hadn't done it in a while? It was so helpful. Like it was so wonderful and helpful. And like, I have noticed a difference between you and me. And I've learned a lot about myself in the process of like, I can, but I'm not particularly there yet in terms of like making funny reels. I'm not even like goofy reels, but even just like little things that like, here's this information I want you to have. This is what I want you to know. Okay, bye. And I hang up. Like, it's not like, it's not kitschy. It's not going to go viral. But I know we just said I went viral a few times, but that was a fluke.
You've only gone viral a few times in the last 5 weeks. That's a lot, dude.
It is a lot. Okay.
Okay. So here's the thing. Like, do you want that? Like, do you want to do some funny reels? Because I don't think you have to. I don't think people have to.
I can't tell yet. Like, I think I'm still learning about my voice. What I have learned about myself this week is like, I had to reframe it. So like I have been doing this since 2020, and in the last 2 years, like I don't know what my goal was. My goal was something to the effect of like, I'm a therapist, I need to be on here, this will be marketing, right? And what it's turned into in the last 5 weeks, and even like a year ago when I was doing the course, like I knew this was important and I wanted people to have it, but like especially in the last 5 weeks, what I keep saying on my stories is, this is a passion project. I just want you to have this information. I just want you to have it. Like, follow me if you want to. Like, I need more women to have this info, because I only work with 15 clients a week. And I get 2 new clients a year. Like, I need people to have this. And that has changed the way I show up versus what's going to sell. That I don't care what's going to sell. I just need women to hear this if they're interested in hearing it. And what can we, and be a community about it. So like, again, if that's my mission, and hopefully I get money later in the process of this, but like, if that's the like driving force right now, and it, I think, makes you more authentic by having that kind of space or that mindset, the like kitschy viral things don't feel authentic to that mission statement, I guess.
Madison, don't do that. I mean, I think so. First of all, I think that's an extremely smart place to be. Like, I know for me, I didn't start selling anything until I hit 10,000 followers. Like, nothing. Because, and a lot of people do it before that. And there are a lot of people that will disagree with that. But I personally think until you get a pretty big following, like, how do you, if you're ever going to sell to your following, like, how do you actually know what they want? Because like, you in your mind as one person in your office might think to yourself, oh, I want to make this workbook for women about the mental load. But you might build a following and get to 5,000 or 10,000 followers, and you're talking to people, you're in your DMs with people, you're posting surveys, you're doing all sorts of stuff. And you may discover they're like, no, I want to retreat about this. Like, I want community around this. I want, and then all of a sudden the product you created, it's like, I like what you're saying. And I think this is so true. Like, I know for me, like, I could like, I have 37 something thousand followers. Like 500 of those people are going to buy from me. That's it. And so the other freaking however many thousand people, like, I just want them to have information that they can do it. They can build a private practice. They can build alternate streams of income. They get all these things, right? And so really, like, you want to be clear on your why, because the majority of your following isn't going to buy from you. Hopefully people will eventually, so that like this, you're not doing this for free, because the reality is you have other things in your life that you do for free, you know? But I think it's really smart not to be selling anything. So I don't know that I would be trying to sell anything. I would just be trying to like serve an audience and figure out where are their pain points, what are the things that they're struggling with, like, how can you be helpful in these like little tidbits of information you're giving them? But how can you do that in a sustainable way? And I would say, so as someone who's a little further down the road, is like, creating content does get tiring eventually. So you want to, you know, it already is. So like, first of all, if you think about your favorite creators that are out there on Instagram, more than likely, you don't remember what they posted 6 months ago. Maybe you remember a few things, but like, and also we know that repeat content, that hearing the same message over again is good. It's like, you're not taking your following on a journey from like point A to point Z, you know, and like telling them this story over the long term. Like, you're repeating a lot of the same themes and content. So I guess the part I would think about as the next step for you is just making sure, like that thing that we talked about trying to figure out a way. And this might be a good thing to talk about with Hannah if she is in the like, you know, video space of like, okay, how do we make it so that we can, and this is why those kitschy reels are good supplemental, but not necessarily your main thing. Like reels where you talk to the camera and it's not based on a trending audio are mini videos that you can use over and over again if you have enough. Like, I'm not saying post the same reel every week. I'm saying like post the same reel every 6 months, you know, or 4 months or whatever. And I think my thought would be you need some system for organizing that. That would be my next step if I were you. Like, I would continue doing what you're doing and find a way to save your content so that you don't burn out later.
That's a great idea.
So that, like, if you do, I don't know, have another baby, or you do want to take a few months off of it, you could hire somebody, a VA or something, to come in and like post all this backlogged content that you created 6 months ago.
Okay, cool. I love that. And I hadn't thought of that. In terms of your experience on my account, I feel like in our first podcast episode, it was make sure you're posting reels, make sure that like even the text message exchange between us, like, hey, that's really great, but it's information heavy. Like it will get people to be loyal to you, great, but it's not going to get people to find you and follow you. So you're going to need shorter things that are shorter or more grabby. And I don't know. I feel like I'm doing a little bit of both. I don't know what my experience. I don't know if I'm being that strategic, honestly. If anybody goes and looks right now, they won't see this for that month. It is still me like grabbing at straws, being like, go, 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 even with somebody talking to me each week. Like it feels really hectic. So one of the goals is like streamlining, trying to get stories recorded in advance and schedule postings, like things like that. It now feels like I have something under my belt and I don't want to let go of the momentum that's happening. And now it's time to like not be a newbie, but be a participant in this system.
So then I would say you need some I actually went and looked at your feed prior to this. So like I would say like you need some shorter reels, like under 10 seconds. And those don't have to be the trending audios. They can be, and that can be really helpful. But like one I do a lot is like just saying the sentence of like, let's normalize saying, and then you fill in a sentence. Like, let's normalize saying women do X, Y, and Z. Let's normalize saying like, you know, we were talking off camera. Santa Claus, anyway, Santa Claus is the patriarch. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Like, let's normalize saying fill in the blank. Like, that's an easy one that's going to be 7 seconds long, you know? Or like sometimes I'll post ones that are like, have you ever wondered? Fill in the blank. Like 1 sentence reels. And then like trending audios, there's like a mix of information out there. Like for a long time, people were like very into them. Now they're becoming less popular, which I think is good because like they're annoying. You can't repurpose that, you know. But I think some shorter reels are a good thing. And like I would say you could also, I think we talked about you doing a live every once in a while.
Yeah, I've only done one. I was supposed to do 2 before we met again. I did 1. And I loved my live, but it was like literally in the car. I parked my car before I went up and saw my kid. I turned on the live and was like, hey guys, this is my thought. And then I hung up.
But I think that's good. And like you could do a live with Emily from your podcast channel. So like your podcast Instagram and your Instagram could do a live that it doesn't have to be long. You know, it could be like a check-in with you guys. Yeah. Or so I would say I think you should try to do another live or like another 2 lives.
How many people can you have on lives as guests?
I think you can have just one. Oh, no. Maybe you can have 2. Let me think. I
might text you to just jump on and complain about Santa Claus again.
We could do a live. Let's do a live.
Yeah. We should just do a live about Santa Claus.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh my gosh. Anyone who's listening to this is like in January and they're like,
they're in January or February being like, what is happening?
Like, okay, but we have to tell them because we brought it up enough. Here's what we were talking about off camera. This is my theory. So first of all, I like Santa. There's no hate on Santa. If we're going to get a ton of comments from people who are like, I love Santa, and like all power to you if you love Santa.
I love Santa.
Right?
I
want Santa. I
don't want to be Santa.
Exactly. If Santa really came and did his job and showed up at my house and brought his shit and wrapped it and shopped for it, like we'd be good. Okay. Yeah. But here's the truth about Santa. In my house and in a lot of houses, Santa is a woman who is often, not always, again, anyone who in the comments who's telling me that they're the guy doing Santa, great. But in my house, Santa's a woman who is on Amazon buying the present, thinking about who needs the present, thinking about whose parents would like the present or whatever. And then the present comes, and then I'm breaking down the box, and I'm trying to put the box in the recycling in my house. And then there's no more room in the recycling, and I'm talking to my neighbor about it. And then I'm wrapping that present, and then I'm putting it under the tree. And then an old white dude gets credit for it on Christmas morning, which to me is like, that's the patriarchy. I'm telling you.
It 100% is the patriarchy. And like my addition to that is like, you're buying on Amazon, I'm buying on Amazon. And then I'm also fucking stressed about the local businesses who are
that I feel guilty
all day on Instagram being like, please shop at my place. And I'm like, yeah, I want to, but I can't leave my house because I have an 11-month-old and I'm like just so overwhelmed and I'm trying to get to your place and I haven't been able to. Like, oh my God, it's so stressful. The amount of mental energy.
I live across the street from a small business and I've just decided that I am going to like buy presents from there, but they don't really apply to like everybody. But I'm just like, either it's coming from Amazon or it's just coming from this one small business.
That's the capacity I have.
That's the amount of shit I have left to give.
Yeah.
But while we were talking, I thought of a solution to this patriarchy Santa problem.
Yeah.
Let's at like a very minimum acknowledge that Mrs. Claus is probably doing the work. But like, why don't we say Santa and Mrs. Claus at least? Or at least like, yeah, Santa brought the present on the sleigh, but like we all know Mrs. Claus wrapped it.
I need to go find the pair and then be like, excuse me, Santa, I need my baby to sit with Mrs. Claus because we know she's doing the shit.
100%. We all know Mrs. Claus is doing the work. Like, let's like raise awareness for Mrs.
Like, it's like my husband who's like, I buy all the stuff, but some things need to get returned, and he's in the car returning all the things. That's what Santa's doing. He's following the instructions. Okay,
Santa's
I'll deliver
extra,
it to
but Mrs. Claus fucking planned the whole route for the reindeer and the Rudolph and whatever.
She's cooking the meal for the elves. She's doing all of it.
I know. Shit,
Why are we talking about this?
We're so off topic. I don't even know. Okay, so Stassi, you are going to do at least 2 lives in the next. Well, okay, so like, look, this is the holidays. Like, let's say fuck it. So like, you're going to do 2 lives in January.
I'll do a live. I'm going to make you come on a live with me before Christmas. We're going to do it. Sorry.
Before Christmas? That's like next week, bitch.
I know. I'm going to say, are you free right now? And you're going to have to just like hop on.
Are we? Oh my God. Okay, let's do that. I'm down. I'm always in my like workout clothes. Like half the time I'm making content, like I just threw on. I have like 6 sweaters that I sip on.
All the influencers are doing like lounge sets these days. That's all I want. Actually, that's what I want for Christmas. Like what? I didn't know this was a thing. Like we just gonna wear pajamas all the time and call them lounge sets? Okay.
That's like my life now. I'm all telehealth. Okay, we're just getting punchy and excited. So 2 lives.
Okay. 2 lives. Okay.
What is your goal for Reels? Where are you at in terms of?
So the thing is, what's happening right now, where Reels are being made and posted within the same day / hour, right? Like if my kid is sleeping, I could try to rush it out, and like burnout's gonna happen, right? Like there's no fucking way
happen. You do it that way.
I'm a full-time mom. I work with clients from 5 to 8 p.m. and in between napping, I'm doing Reels. So that's the thing. I don't even know if I want to batch them, but I want several days out. The other thing I'm hoping to do is find like if anybody knows, please send them my way, but a college student or like a impassioned mom who wants a purpose, like that's my other person who can caption these things for me. Okay, this is what I want.
I got you. I have someone for you.
Oh, please. Oh my God, really?
Yeah. I can't say it on the podcast.
Okay, okay, that's what I want.
It's going to get blown up, but I got you. I have someone.
That's what I want. That's actually like literally on my to-do list.
I have someone who literally is amazing and needs more work right now. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, that's my goal. So
you need someone to help write your captions. Great.
And not my cap. I can write my cap, but like put the reels together, put the like graphic together. Or like my stories. I'll record. It takes me hours to like I don't like just putting captions because as a user, I don't read the captions. I skip over them. So you have to have like text blocks, and that takes so long to like record and then do. So like I want to send it to someone else and then like schedule out posting those stories, for tomorrow, for 2 days from now. So that's my goal.
So you want to start scheduling your content.
Scheduling content. And
what do you use to schedule? Do you schedule it all now?
No, I just post it right now. I just put it and I throw it up, and then I'm stressed that like I need to go see my client in 5 minutes and I have to get hashtags and I'm like sprinting around, like it's very flying by the seat of my pants and stressful. Yeah.
So
and then
this kind of leads into exactly what we were talking about before. Like what I was saying of like starting to save your content. Ideally, those schedulers will schedule and save it.
okay.
So you could either use Facebook Business Suite to schedule it, or you could use another one. So like Social Bee, the one that I use, you can also do.
Are they schedulers?
It's the same
So
thing.
if you
It'll
schedule?
post and schedule. It'll
Oh, okay.
save.
Cool.
It's like a whole. It's hard to explain without you using it, but like essentially like a way to store your content and a way to post your content to get everything working.
I used to use the brand or the app Later, and Later would schedule your content.
I mean, they're competitors. Like they're the same.
And then
same sort of
Business Suite. I don't know if this is true, but like they schedule stories. Do other apps now are allowed to schedule stories, or Business Suite is the only one that like you can schedule stories with? You don't know.
I don't know because I don't schedule my stories. Like I tend to be like, well, here I am, you know.
I'm trying to, that's where the main thing I want to do is like nurture my audience and actually get them to be like hanging out with me and like valuing this as a community. When Stassi isn't on, what is she up to? Like that's like, I do want to grow followers, but more than anything, I want people to care about the things that I'm talking about and are participating.
Then I would maybe not schedule your stories. I would maybe just do them on the fly and not care about what you look like, not care about wearing makeup, not care if like there's a baby head coming up, you know, like you look at my stories, like I'm not dressed super nice. And I'm talking to professionals. Like you're talking to people who are not necessarily like expecting that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, most of the time I'm braless and in jammies still. So I am doing that more. So
so just maybe do it on the fly.
To do like text boxes. So like I still want to schedule it because the text boxes are annoying.
You don't just use the captions that are on Instagram?
Just as a user personally, I don't look at, like I skip over those. I'm like, I don't want to read what she has to say. So I think you get more.
So you actually have like you're like, what do you mean you have a text box? Like you just have like a chunk of text inside the story?
Yeah. So if this is my story, like if this is my thing right now, it says like, hey, this is what I'm talking about. Here's a side note a tangent I went on, and here's another thing that I said. And it's literally like 3 little paragraphs that people hold down and read versus like trying to read the captions.
That's a lot of work, dude.
It's a fucking lot of work. And every influencer that I am loyal to is doing that.
That's a lot of work.
I know. That's why I want to outsource it.
Okay. So
that's why we schedule.
You need to outsource it.
Yeah.
So that means what you also need to think about is you need to think about a budget for what you want to outsource.
I know. That's the thing is all of this is fucking free. You know what I mean? It's like anything I'm paying for is just out of my income because I'm not gaining anything yet.
So, you know, like Facebook Business Suite is free. Yeah. So Social Bee, I forget how much I pay. I want to say it's like $19 a month. It's not super expensive. Maybe it's
also
less.
Not cheap.
Yeah, it's not cheap. I use it for me. It's like a worker bee. I mean, like I'm on it, you know, like for the amount I'm on it. And then, so like if you decide to outsource some of it, the thing you need to think about is what's most valuable for you to outsource and how much do you want to spend outsourcing? Do you mean? Like you might get to
person, how much is she versus a eager to please college student? That's the difference.
So I've used a ton of different people. I typically pay people who do more of like writing captions or more of like the admin type tasks for me. My minimum is usually 30 an hour and then I go up to 45 an hour. So if somebody like has graduated from college and they're like, this is really like more of like a stepping stone to a bigger social media thing, then I'll pay them 45. If they're like a college age person and they just started up, then I'll pay them 30. But we're filming this right in 2022. So if you're listening to this 5 years from now, it's going to be different than that. I also live in Santa Barbara, California. The cost of living is really high here. So the average, Santa Barbara does a calculated average livable wage. The average livable wage for like a minimum wage job here should be $24 an hour.
Right.
So like what might be people paying $20 an hour in somewhere else in the country, here in Santa Barbara, you have to pay more.
Right.
So, but like that's going to be different wherever you live. That's going to be different based on, but I do find too that like if you're if you're trusting someone to put content out for you, you don't necessarily want to pay them. You want to pay them well,
Right. My goal was like 25 to 30 was like, and my hope is that you're efficient enough that you're going to be like 2 hours, right? Like it's not going to take long for you to
100. If someone's writing captions for like 4 reels, like I would assume that they can do that in less than an hour.
Yeah, so you're not even like, so if you're $30 an hour is $25 to $28.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Basically, like I would say like, you want to ideally hire someone that's pretty fast at doing this.
Yeah.
And like the thing is, if somebody's been doing it before, they should be pretty fast at it. And you also get like the other thing is like you'll get faster at it. So it's like
I already have got faster at it, but and like in our first episode, it's like it takes so long. This is so hard. Like
you were like it takes me 4 hours to make a reel.
Yeah, yeah. It takes me like I mean, some of the stuff like the series of like 2 things can be true at the same time. I'm just putting new words on it. Today I didn't even film my face again. I just used the same face from 4 weeks ago because I was like, I don't want to do that. Like I don't like nobody cares. I don't care. So yeah, there are things that when you have content, you get to reuse content and like there's a cookie cutter thing for this series that I have that makes this easier. There's a few things that make this easier, but
and as you get faster, you might outsource less. Like I don't outsource any of my captions because like even though I post
captions, I just ramble.
Yeah, it's like, and I use Grammarly and I like voice memo them into Grammarly.
That's clever
because they have an app. It's amazing. And then I'm like, wow. So it takes me like, I don't know, 3 to 4 minutes to write a caption top.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, me too. If I'm just even typing it out, that like it is fast. Hashtags are what I've done for hashtags. If anybody cares, is like one, I'm trying to find more influencers that are not in the therapist world. I'm trying to find influencers that are like, which is really hard to do on Instagram. Like it's not searchable. But like influencers who are doing something similar but in different places. So like there's a account called A Mother's Place, and she's from the UK, and she just talks about how hard it is to be a mom. And so I started looking at her hashtags, like what are your hashtags that you're looking at? How are you performing this stuff? But like I've been stealing, but like being like, oh, okay, like overwhelmed mom, and then I change it to mom.
Or you could just keep it as mom, and you'll get some international followers.
I'll get some UK people and be so cute.
That I just lost my train of thought. Okay, so do you feel like you have a little bit of an action plan for moving forward?
2 lives of scheduling content.
You're gonna research a scheduling content platform. Honestly, that in and of itself is a project. So I would like, just like let that be its own project and like not put too much other stuff on this. Okay.
So my presence goal is to be on stories basically every day.
Love it.
And I haven't figured out how much content I want to be producing on the feed, but definitely like 3 to 4 still, I think, seems sustainable.
Well, and here's the thing. Let's say you spend some time setting up like a scheduler, a post recycler. Maybe if it takes you a month to do that, maybe just do 2 reels a week during that time. Like I think it's like, creating content is a long-term game, so you don't want to burn out. So like you're going to use a scheduler. You're going to start saving your content so that you don't burn out. So in the meantime, while you're setting it up, do less reels, put out less content, like give yourself a little bit of a break.
Okay.
And then we'll revisit when, I don't know, after Mrs. Claus Kelley comes out of the woodwork.
Yeah. New Year somewhere,
we will check in and you'll be like, I have taken so many steps. It'll be great.
I know.
Stassi, thank you so much for coming on. Thank
you for being here. Thank you for the experts.
Oh my
Oh my
God. Same. I learned so much. It's like amazing. So thank you so much. I love it. This podcast is sponsored by Simple Practice. I've been using Simple Practice since 2016, which has helped me run a smooth and profitable private practice over the years. It has simplified everything from scheduling to billing, giving me a better balance between the work I'm so passionate about and the family time I'm not willing to miss out on. Check out the episode notes to get a free 2-month trial of Simple Practice, my preferred all-in-one HIPAA-compliant solution. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ask Kelley Anything. This is one of my favorite segments of the show where I get to answer your burning private practice questions. So let's get into today's question.
Hi, Kelley. I'm an MFT trainee in California, and I love your podcast and social media page. I have a question for you about social media and branding. So if I have a social media page, like for example, Instagram for my therapy page that I'm starting, but I also do something else, like I want to have a page maybe for coaching or music that I offer. I'm trying to figure out how to decide what to include on my therapist Instagram page. And is it okay to have 2 different Instagrams, one for therapy and talking about what I provide as a therapist, and then a separate Instagram for, say, coaching, more of like a holistic kind of branding that also includes like my music career option, combining that. Or I'm just wondering if I should just combine it all on one main Instagram profile and include that there. And my last question kind of along these lines is therapists that have different identities, such as being a musician and songwriter. Do I need to create a separate website for that? Do I need to create a separate Instagram account for that? Or can I combine that in my therapy Instagram and therapy website? So thank you so much for your time. And again, I appreciate everything you give us. All right. Thank you.
All right, so that was today's question. This one doesn't have a right answer, so I'm just going to shoot you kind of real straight on what I would do. So through the years, I would say I have had all kinds of businesses, right? I've done wedding photography, I've had my current private practice, and done a lot of different things. And one thing that I've really realized is the importance of niching down, and especially when it comes to social media. So the first question I would ask yourself is about social media in particular. I would really ask you, do you want to build a social media presence? Meaning, are you going to invest the time to really build a following on social media? And if so, do you have the time and the bandwidth to do that on 2 separate accounts? Now, as somebody who creates content really for a living, at this point, it's my full-time job, I will say that that's a lot of work if you want to build a whole following, as opposed to just like I post every once in a while when there are updates of things going on. So that would be the first question I would ask you is, what are your goals for your social media? And if your goals are really to build a big following, then what I want you to realize is that at some point, if you build 2 separate pages, you're going to have 2 separate identities online, and those might start to collide and people might get confused, right? So people might start following both and kind of wonder, like, what does she really do? What does she specialize in? So I would probably combine them. The only issue is in combining them, you're kind of saying, like, I have 3 separate niches. I have therapy, I have coaching, and then I have music. And I think the thing that's important is if you do combine them, you really have to find a way to kind of build an integrated story of who your ideal person that you're targeting is and what you're trying to tell them with those 3 things. So, I always want to say to people that like social media is a tool to speak to your ideal client. So even if you have multiple identities, you have to ask yourself, do all of those identities appeal to this one type of ideal client? And if they don't, then what I would do is I might promote across different platforms. So I might build a coaching profile on Instagram, and then I might build more of a music profile on TikTok so that you're not confusing your branding. Oftentimes, therapists will put coaching and therapy together because they feel really integrated. But with the music, I think that definitely can feel integrated too. But I would ask yourself, are you teaching music lessons? Are you a professional musician looking to book gigs? Like, who are you trying to talk to with these 3 identities, and then build a brand around that? The same thing with your website, right? The internet likes to categorize and likes to make things make sense. And so the same thing with your website, you want to be talking to a specific person and ideally leading them to a specific outcome. So for therapy or coaching, that outcome is booking an appointment, right? For the music, my question is bringing in a conversation about your music integrated with who you are as a therapist, or are you having a different goal? Again, booking gigs, teaching lessons, whatever it is. So I hope this helps in that there isn't necessarily a right answer, but instead of thinking, how do I promote these 3 identities? I want you to shift your thinking and say, who am I speaking to, and what do they need to hear in order to get the outcome I want, which would be booking an appointment. I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense, because there's not one right way to do it. But I would lean toward the side of combining everything, even if that means you're not speaking equally about each of those identities at one time, so that you're able to be really clear to the people you want to serve and help. I hope this helps.
If you would like to be featured on Ask Kelley Anything, I love getting listener questions from you guys. Anything about private practice goes. And the best way to do that is actually just to give me a call and leave me a question on my voicemail. So I'm going to tell you the phone number right now and make sure to write it down. Here it is: 805-243-8241. I'm looking forward to hearing from you.